Hey, I'm Greg Levine. I'm managing editor of Firedog Lake, and this is the party line for April 15th, 2011, and I'm still here. We're still here. The government is still here. Remember last week we were all biting our nails, sitting up, watching TV till midnight, waiting for the government to shut down. Sure, that the government was going to shut down, but the system, it didn't shut down. The system worked, right? I mean, you know, the president proposes and Congress disposes and Moses supposes that roses have noses, and the guy who, you know, the government employee who runs this camera was going to have to be furloughed, but he didn't get furloughed because we all debated all the lines in the budget, and now he's here, hi, right there, running the camera again, and I'm talking to you, and everything is great because the system worked. No. The system didn't work. The federal system, frankly, has been reduced to what we have here in New York, something affectionately known as 3 men in a room. Albany government, the state capitol, famously dysfunctional, shame of the nation, embarrassment to everybody here in New York City, a legislature and a governor that don't seem to have the balance of power worked out, that invariably can't get a budget together by the deadline. I think they've had like 3 on time since I was born, and it always comes down to a negotiation between the Speaker of the Assembly and the guy who runs the Senate this month, whoever that is, and the governor, and they sit down in a room, cut a deal, and then the legislature rubber stamps it, and everybody assumes they know what's in it. We find out over the course of the year we have a budget. It's theoretically balanced. 3 men in a room. That's how New York government has worked. Although, side note, Andrew Cuomo, our current governor, is actually in a cost-cutting move, shaved that down to 1 man in a room. That would be Andrew Cuomo. Haha, Shrajua, Shelley Silver. But we can talk about that more in, say, 2016. But let's get back to 11, and the 3 men in a room here. The most famous ones right now are Barack Obama, Harry Reid, and John Boehner, who at the 11th hour, or actually the 10:30th hour, I think it was, on Friday, last Friday, worked out this budget agreement, and basically rammed it through a short-term continuing resolution last week to keep the government open on the weekend, and then today, or yesterday, I guess it was, yes, yesterday, finished voting on a budget that will carry us through all the way through till September. And of course we've had lots of time. No, we haven't had lots of time to figure out what's in it. I actually spent an agonizing Monday and Tuesday looking at all the lines in that budget. Hey, let's put it this way. If you liked it, it's gone, pretty much. High-speed rail, it's gone. You know, you name that social safety net program, it's gone. Title 10, you know, which is what that Planned Parenthood debate sort of was the shorthand version of the debate over Title 10 funding. The thing that we supposedly cut this whole deal to save, Title 10 got cut severely in this budget. So hurrah, the system work. Well, I guess it worked in that there was this system. The president got to do a deal, and what's really wild is that we now live in this world under this president where the means justify the ends. It's like the fact that there was a deal is the success, not the substance of the deal. That's neither here nor there, really. Live to fight another day. He cut a deal. The Chamber of Commerce will be his best friend for life. Everything is hunky-dory. And then this week on Wednesday, he got to give like a really great speech. So the system worked. Well, I mean, listen, a lot of people like the speech, right? So, I mean, that's worth something, right? I'll even admit, it was a pretty good speech, especially considering. It was a pretty good speech to have delivered, say, maybe before last Friday, so that you could take that strong liberal argument about what government is for to the bargaining table, or better yet, it would have been a really good speech to deliver, say, last September, when you're supposed to have a budget, and before the November elections, when, the whole country turns out and decides whose vision of government they like better. It would have been good to articulate a vision of government back then. That would have really made it a good speech, right? I mean, it's a softball. Honestly, it's a softball assuming that you want to play in the Republican Stadium, which is deficit hysteria field. The president should have been making a deficit speech. He should have been making a job speech. He should be making another stimulus speech, honestly. He should be talking about the grand things that government can do to help people, because, frankly, things still pretty much suck. So you don't talk about, like, saving a bunch of people interest money on their investment sometime in the future. You talk about what you're going to do for the bulk of Americans right now. So assuming you don't look at that too closely, it was still like a really good speech, articulated what a liberal government can do for people. And we can go through it point by point, but I just want to talk about one thing, and that is the paragraph on Social Security. It's been a bit of a, thorn, sticking point, bête noire, bugaboo, whatever, with a lot of us here at Firedog Lake, because I know nobody wants to hear it, but we still don't think Social Security is particularly safe in the hands of this administration. Now, they're going to point to this paragraph in the speech, and I'm going to read it to you right now. I'm going to look away, kind of, because I don't have a teleprompter, and didn't get restored in the government budget, cut my teleprompter. Anyway, while Social Security, this is what Barack Obama said, while Social Security is not the cause of our deficit, it faces real long-term challenges in a country that's growing older. As I said in the State of the Union, both parties should work together now to strengthen Social Security for future generations, but we have to do it without putting at risk current retirees or the most vulnerable or people with disabilities, without slashing benefits for future generations, and without subjecting Americans' guaranteed retirement income to the whims of the stock market, and it can be done. Well, of course it can be done, because there are all the qualifiers and buzzwords in there that tell me that we need to be very, very worried about the future of Social Security from the get-go. If Social Security is not the cause of the deficit, then why are you putting it in the same speech why are you putting in a deficit speech? Why are you putting it in the same sentence? Why are you saying, if it's not the cause of our deficit, then we have to do something about it in my deficit speech? Problem number one. Second part, strengthen Social Security. That has been like age-old buzzword. Social Security is actually pretty darn strong. Compared to the rest of the government, it's fucking boffo, excuse my language. If we did something like SANE, like remove the cap on the payroll tax, then we could probably fund Captain Kirk's retirement with Social Security. I mean, it would just make it soluble, maybe, the way it is now, solvent out through the edge of the universe. Strengthen is buzzword to me. Putting at risk current retirees. See, he doesn't want to put at risk current retirees, but say if you're under 55, well, then that's perhaps something else entirely. You might have to see means testing. You might see a hike in the retirement age. In fact, I guarantee you that both of these things are going to be at least floated, because they were floated by the Simpson-Bowles partnership. It's barely a committee. They never actually turned out a report. So there'll be that probably floated. So current retirees over 55, probably don't worry about it. Under 55, we're going to be screwing with your Social Security. And also says that he will do it without slashing benefits. Now, he could have said without touching benefits, without cutting benefits, but he didn't. He said without slashing. Okay, so we're not going to cut your benefits by 90%, but we might cut them by 25%. That's not technically slashing, is it? Slashing is also, look back on several of his statements about Social Security, you'll find the word slashing. It seems to be the acceptable, defined parameter for what you can and can't do. And finally, the Americans' guaranteed retirement income will not be subject to the whims of the stock market. And the reason it won't be might be because we don't do the privatization scheme exactly as George W. Bush proposed it, but it also might be that we take part of the Social Security Trust Fund and put it into the market to satisfy all those people who want to artificially inflate the stock market again before the next election, but that the government guarantees that portion against the loss. Once again, privatizing profits, but socializing risk. And I think that this will possibly be a proposal. It's scary, it's awful, it's ugly. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying that when I see that word about guarantee, it doesn't say the same thing as we will not privatize Social Security, any part of it, no how, no way, no cookie. Done. All right? So, lovely speech except for the words. Lovely budget except for the details. Lovely process except for the results. 3 men in a room, not really the way this government was supposed to work. Let me leave you actually with something from Mario Cuomo, that's Andrew's dad, who had his own star turn in a room with 2 other men. He said that a technically balanced budget that fails to meet the reasonable needs of the middle class and the poor would be the emblem of hypocrisy. Say that again. Fails to meet the needs of the middle class and the poor would be the emblem of hypocrisy. I think that's the party line, or at least it should be. I'll see you next week.